Morning, everybody. It's just Will today. I'm doing a solo hike. I'm happen to be in Harpers Ferry National Park. See Harpers Ferry across the river here. And you can actually see a Amtrak train at the train station that's stopped there right now. Today I'm planning on hiking the Maryland Heights Trail. We'll be going up to the top of the mountain here. I don't know if you can see it or not up there. It's a 5.3 mile circuit hike that I got out of a book that was sold in the Appalachian Trail Conservatory's store, which is in Harpers Ferry. I picked it up a couple weeks ago. It has a bunch of circuit hikes in the area. This will be the first one of those that I'm going to try. It's a shorter hike. Of course, it's winter. I try to keep my day hikes short, but it does have a 1,600 feet of vertical climb, so it's not too awfully bad. I have a feeling the trails though are going to be pretty wide. I happen to be standing on the C&O Canal towpath right now. The trailhead is actually across the road here, across the canal. This is the old C&O Canal. So we're gonna cross the bridge here and get started. One of the things that makes this hike a little different than most of the ones that I've done so far is this one's as much a history trip as it is as a nature hike. The river you see behind me is the Potomac River, and Harpers Ferry here was kind of right on the border of the North and the South during the Civil War, the Union and the Confederacy. So Harpers Ferry and the whole area around here was pretty important strategically, and therefore as we go today we'll see some fortifications and battlements and things like that along the way. But it's a pretty cool view. In the summer, you come along here and you'll see dozens and dozens of people coming down on inner tubes. They just kind of ride the river down, and then the outfitters that they rent the tubes from picks them up down here at the just beyond Harpers Ferry. Maybe I'll try that someday. While the terrain of the trail here isn't that challenging, it's pretty wide and level, or graded, I should say. It's the grade itself that gets you. It goes pretty much from the very start of the trail, goes straight up at a pretty good pitch. Kind of wears on you after a while, but still a good day to be out. It's starting to snow a little bit. I took a little detour off the main path. There's a little trail here that's supposed to go to an old naval blockade emplacement, so I wanted to check it out. And it wasn't that far off the main trail, so I don't think I'm too far from it. Well, I made it to the blockade emplacement. You see a bunch of earthworks here. Wayside marker up there. I'll go read that here in a bit. But pretty cool. I'm going to walk out here on the rim of the entrenchments here and see what the view is like. I'm at the very end of the entrenchments, or the earthworks, and had a pretty good view of the Harpers Ferry and the river, the Potomac River, which is right down here, and then the Shenandoah River runs on the other side of Harpers Ferry there. You can't can just barely see it through the trees, but it's there. So, and I would imagine that they would have had a lot of these trees cleared off at the time so they could effectively use their guns from here. Alright, I moved on up to the wayside marker here, so you can see the naval battery position, and then you can see Harpers Ferry and the valleys beyond. It's pretty cool. If you look up there above Harpers Ferry, you can see just mountain pass after mountain pass. I reached the point of the hike where it actually does start to circuit. I'll be following the red blazes going up this way. Takes us to the overlook cliff, and then I'll be coming back on this trail here, which is coming back from the stone fort, and we'll see that later. But for now, I'm following the red blazes. To give you an idea of the kind of climbs I've been doing the entire way so far. I guess the nice thing is on the way back it'll be all downhill. Taking a quick break here to catch my breath and let my heart rate get down. Tell you what, it gives you a real appreciation about the Civil War soldiers bringing those really heavy guns up here, and then once they get up here, keeping them supplied with shell and powder. I mean, that would have had to have been a huge undertaking to continuously keep up. I don't know if you can see it, but the Potomac River is back here over my shoulder here, and you can just barely see Harpers Ferry through the trees there. So I'm going to give myself another minute here and then continue on. Well, I made it to the overlook trail here. If I remember right, it's like a 500-foot descent to get to the overlook, which means there'll be a 500-foot ascent to get back up here. But from what I hear and from what I've seen, it's well worth it. So I'm going to do it while I'm here. So I'm going to hike down here, check out the overlook, and then start heading up and get up to the old stone fort that I had kind of mentioned earlier. Well, I made it to the overlook. Well worth the hike. I don't care if it's 500 feet back up. Look at that view. That's freaking awesome. So, the Potomac River there comes down, and the Shenandoah River goes up on the other side of Harpers Ferry here, and then joins the Potomac and continues its way down to towards Washington, D.C. But look at that view. I don't know if how well you guys can see, but that's actually the C&O Canal towpath and the canal itself along the river there. And if you look just up the road, you see a bunch of cars. That's actually where I parked today. So I'm not, as far as mileage goes, not very far from my starting point. But elevation-wise, I hiked up and then back down another 500 feet. But the resultant view, again, as I said before, is well worth it. Okay, I'm starting the 500-foot ascent back up from the overlook, and then I'll hook up with the Stone Fort Trail. I do want to check the weather again because the snow's getting heavier and it's starting to lay, so just kind of see how much they're actually calling for. Well, I just made it back up the 500-foot ascent. I'm back on the main trail. Can't catch my breath here a little bit. It's quite a hike. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm packing my big camera today just because of the overlooks and stuff. I don't think I'm going to need it here for the next part of this hike, so I'm going to put it in my pack, and that way I don't have to worry about the weather and stuff affecting it. Definitely worth the effort though. That the views you get from down there are outstanding. Well, I turned off the other trail and I'm now on the blue blazed Stone Fort Trail. It ascends pretty much straight up, but it's more of a the kind of hiking trail I'm used to. If it keeps up like this much longer, I'll have to stop and get my hiking poles out. Although the good news is the snow seemed to slack off a little bit. I did check the weather. They were calling for an inch, so either way that's not too bad. Still on the Stone Fort Trail. It's actually not too long after I made the last video, but I came across this is a old 30-pound gun position. You can see the battlements that they had there. I'd hate to see the effort it took to get 30-pound guns up here. I'm standing on the battlement here, and kind of continues on around there, and the powder magazine is over there. So, and there's a deer going. A whole bunch of deer. I don't know if you can see them in the background. They don't seem to be too anxious to leave this area, so because there's one just kind of hanging out right here. Oh, there goes another one. Well, I guess I'm going to watch the deer for a little bit, and then catch the trail and continue up the heights there. This is the powder magazine. Well, the trail leveled off fairly decent here. Now that I got on top of the ridge here, came across some powder magazines. There's pits here and here, and there's something over here. I'm not sure what it is yet. I'll walk over and figure it out. Okay, apparently there's a 100-pound battery here. So we hit 30-pound battery earlier. Now here's a 100-pound battery. Huge guns. Holy cow. So I'll walk up, check out the site. Well, can't see much as far as the view because of the snow, but I bet you in the summer it's quite the overlook. Just kind of I stopped at this waypoint marker just beside me here, and I stumbled across this. I'm not sure if this is from an old wayside marker or from the gun emplacement. But anyway, it's pretty cool. Well, it looks like I'm coming up on the, I'm assuming it's the old stone fort. Maybe it's something else. Looks like an old stone fort. So there's a wayside marker here. And now see what it says. But this is pretty cool. Old stone walls built up. We're right on the top of the mountain here. Gonna walk up here, look over at the edge. Yeah. Great view of the valley below and the two peaks. And then there's you can just barely see the Potomac River going through the pass out there. So I'll stop here and break out my big camera, take a couple photos, and then since this is I think the highest part of the hike, the rest of it is all downhill. It's a view of the interior of the stone fort. Try to show you a portion of the exterior view of the stone fort. Pretty massive walls. I'm actually standing on one. See if I can do this without falling off the edge of the wall. Pretty impressive. Although, from the wayside marker that I just read, they said they built the foundation, but they never actually finished the superstructure of it. And then I think it was later turned into like a storehouse or a commissary. So, scramble back up these rocks and start the return part of my hike. I just left the stone fort, and I'm going to follow the trail on out, and actually complete the circuit back to the old combined trail that we kind of split off of to come up here. From the notes, the hike notes that I have, says that this part of the trail is going to be following. We're going to be passing a bunch of infantry pits and fortifications along the way, so that's pretty cool. I'll stop and check those out. Speaking of pits, there's one right there. So I think the uphill portion of this hike is over. Now comes the downhill. I might have to break out the hiking poles for the downhill part. See how well my knees can handle that. While I'm up here, I'm just going to climb up. Look at this pit. And see if I can come back down without falling. Yep. Alright. Part of the trail here is following a, looks like a defensive works here. A little wall that was built up. When I started the descent, I did have to break out my poles because it's getting pretty steep. And you can still see some defensive position wall here, extending the whole way down. It's pretty neat. Ran across quite a few people today. Most of them seem to be going in the opposite direction. And now that I'm on this part of the trail, I can tell why. I mean, it's pretty easy going so far. So if it's like this the rest of the way, I'll probably be able to make up some pretty good time on the way down. Can't get much easier hiking than this. Taking a small break on my way down. Came across this great overlook of the Potomac, and then you can kind of see Harpers Ferry out in the distance, out this way. This trail I'm coming down, it's basically a mountain logging road. That's the way I'm going. Yeah, a lot easier descent than going up, although it's also a little harder on your knees too. So, still picking my way down, almost to where I had split. I had hiked that trail earlier to go to the overlook that faced Harpers Ferry. So this means that the circuit part of the hike is done with. Now I just kind of have to double back to or backtrack to where the car is parked. So, and that's still a pretty steep descent. I will say the descent coming down this part of the trail is super fast because it's basically a logging road. This combined trail is like a logging road, and then when you cut up the Stone Fort Trail, it's actually a regular old hiking trail, but then it loops back onto this road here. So definitely went fast. It's definitely a little harder on the knees too, and you gotta really watch your step because it's slippy with the snow and the wet rocks and ice. So I'm gonna kind of give my knees a break here a little bit, and then start heading down the Red Blaze Trail. Well, it seems that the snow has given up and the sun's coming out, so it's pretty cool, pretty nice ending for the hike. So it seems like it's going to turn into a pretty nice afternoon. So I think once I get down to the car and kind of finish up the hike, I might drive over into Harpers Ferry since I'm here, and poke around there a little bit. Well, I'm back to the first overlook that I had hit on my way up. Since it's not snowing, it's much easier for you guys to see across the Potomac. Potomac's actually running pretty high right now because of all the rain and snow that we've just had. And down here, it's a nice set of waterfalls. It's pretty cool. So I think I'm gonna dig my big camera back out of the bag because there's a lot more stuff down here to take pictures of. And then when we get down to the bottom, I'll wrap things up. Okay, everybody, we made it to back to the trailhead of the Maryland Heights Trail. It was a short hike, 5.3 miles. I had to figure out how long it took me time-wise. So, although it was kind of short distance-wise, definitely covered a lot historically, and and it also covered a lot in elevation. So you can see the Canal behind me, and I'm standing on the towpath, and the Potomac River is behind me, and the town of Harpers Ferry. So I think I'm going to put my stuff back in the car and head over to Harpers Ferry. Until next hike, see you guys later.